Hey guys, it's your boy Samar. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I'm out here starting a new project here in Florida, Nocatee. And I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to take some time out throughout the course of the project to kind of hopefully give guys who are just starting out as superintendents, maybe even some mid-level guys who are need a little bit more experience, and to kind of guide you on things that I like to do when starting a project. As you know, you get awarded a project, and they call you in the operations team, saying, hey, we're going to be doing whatever this project is. Here's the drawings, here's the kickoff meeting, and so on and so forth. And then you got to know, okay, what do you do next? If nobody really ever explains to you what you need to do next, or you don't have the experience, I'm hoping that this video will kind of give you a guideline on what to do when you're starting, because it's very important. What I noticed doing this for 26 years is that guys are coming in, very good electricians, got good leadership skills, can communicate really well, and they're just starting to get into running a project, being a superintendent on a project. It could be a bit overwhelming if you don't know what direction to go. So I'm hoping that this video would kind of like give you just the basics. I mean, you could do it however you want. Different guys learn different ways. Me, I like to have a checklist, and I like to follow through with those checklists, and to show you guys how I do it, and to kind of break it down to where when you do get on a project, you're just not shooting blind. You have a guideline to go by, and hopefully this video will help to some degree. And I get it, everybody does things differently, to each their own, but through my experience and the things that I've been through and the people that I've been around, some of the superintendents I've been around, general superintendents, taught me a lot, and I want to try to give that back to guys who are just up and coming, because we definitely need more leadership roles, more superintendents, definitely more tradesmen, and it could be a little intimidating. So but yeah, I'm gonna go through this video. Hopefully I'm not gonna make it too long. I'm just gonna do meat and potatoes, nuts and bolts, get down to the basics, and hopefully this would help somebody when they're starting their project or getting ready to start a project, or have the confidence to move forward with it. So hope you guys enjoy it, and yeah, we'll get to it, and then I'll break it all down for you. All right, folks, real quick, I want to show you an example of how I create my checklist and how I navigate through the beginning phases of a project. As I mentioned earlier before, that a lot of superintendents who are just starting out, mid-level superintendents who probably have a couple of projects under their belt, you want to have some kind of direction in which way you want to go. For me, this helps me out. I want to share it with you guys, how you can build it, how you can go through and check things off, and you can do this however you want to do it, but it's a good tool to use when you're starting a project. So we're going to go here. This new project that I'm starting is St. Johns County Northeast Project Community Center. We'll click on that, and I'll do another video on how you can organize your folders. So within 2 to 3, no more than 4 or 5 clicks, you should be able to click a folder, find a drawing, find information relatively fast. And I'll do a different video on how to break your folders out, so you can get the information you need relatively quickly when people come to you with questions. So right now we're looking at project checklist. and we'll click on that there. And I set this up on Excel. I love Excel. It's a great tool to use. And so what I do at the beginning of a job, obviously, when you're starting to mobilize, you have things that you need to set in place prior to the project really kicking off. And one of those things is, obviously getting power to the general contractor's trailer. As an EC, we need to be ready for that, because as soon as they get on site, the first thing they want once they get their trailer set up is power onto their office trailer. And then you want to start getting your stuff mobilized and getting your office trailer on site, so you can do kind of both of them at the same time. So I kind of put bullet points here, comments on the things that I need to take care of at the beginning of the project. That way I'm not having to go back and revisit any of these items. So an example will be like, okay, GC office trailer has power. Okay, we got that. The date updated, date complete. However, whatever descriptions you want to put in here to help you realize what you have and what you're doing and what you're going to do, and you can be better off planning. Obviously, the old cliche, failure to plan is planning to fail. So planning, especially if you got the time. Fortunately, I do, to get all this planning done ahead of time, so I can get this project rolling once we get an updated schedule and know exactly where we need to go through. So even with your buyouts, what you got, what you received. We did receive some conduit on site. We got that. Drawings completed. Do you have the drawings? You want to go through the drawings? Do you have all the addendums? Do you have all the architectural, the civil drawings? You need to get those drawings. You need to start diving into that. Obviously, you're going to want to look at electrical, but you've got to think about the other trades that are involved as well, whether it's the plumber, the civil, mechanical, HVAC, walls, etc. Another thing I like to do is, make little notes here. Okay, what did we receive? 600. Need to review and set up tentative release dates. That is for my underground buyout. As the project progresses, you want to start releasing your material based on your schedule and based on the order of operation or the order of construction, so you don't have a bunch of material stored on site. And a couple other things too, things that you're doing, what percentage complete you are. That helps me out and let me know that, hey, I'm only 40% complete with working on a locator sheet for the media center in the parking lot. That's a whole nother video when we talk about conduit locator sheet. I will do one on that and show you how we identify conduit home runs and how we list them on a spreadsheet, what goes in them, where they're coming from via panel, where they're going, and what circuits are in them as well. Per schedule, you need to get a schedule from the GC. You got to know what you're working with. You got to know, hey, where are we expected to be on this date? So getting an updated schedule, getting that together, getting that on your checklist, because you're definitely going to need that. And there's some other things that we plugged in here. That probably was something. I don't know what that is. I have to go back and look at it. But, submitted RFI for MC cables using walls. That's a whole nother different thing that you want to do. When you got a bunch of RFIs in the beginning of the project, you want to capture all those RFIs and make sure that they got answered and make sure that you're aware of what's going on, so you don't install something where it doesn't need to be. And again, you can add as much stuff as you want. Here we go. On this side here, we got, Wharton Smith's trailer, own electric trailer, material on site, temporary power drawings, underground buyout, release, job startup form completed, conduit locator sheet review. All these things will help you. And I use this over and over and over again, because starting a project, baseline, is the same thing. These are the things that you need to be looking at. 6-week look ahead, specification review, plan submittal review, fixture shipper report received. Did you get a shipper report for the vendor? Gear shipper report. Did you get a shipping report so you know when your stuff is coming in and when you can expect it? We also use Former, which is Autodesk. I upload drawings and information up on that platform, so the guys in the field, when they have their iPads, they can look at it. We've pretty much done away with paper drawings, so need to do that. I need to get that updated. So I'm at 0% right now, because I'm combing through the drawings and making sure that everything is what it needs to be and make sure that everything's up to date. If you want to do your cost to complete monthly review, you got to know your finances. Hey, how much money do I got in this area? How much do I have for this particular cost code? How much do I have for this particular cost code? You want to know that information so you kind of know what you're working on and what you're dealing with. So you want to review that ahead of time. You don't want to review it midway through the job and realize, oh my God, I spent too much money on wire. Oh my God, I spent too much money on conduit. You can see that coming long before the boat starts to sink, so to speak. And again, a basic checklist, and I'll continue to add stuff on here as the project progresses. Yeah, and it's a good way to keep up with, one, keeping up with your project. Two, when operation teams come and ask you questions, you're able to click, 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 boom. Yes, we did get this. No, we did not get that. And you sound more intelligent and articulate when you're talking about your project. There's nothing that instills confidence in a general contractor, an owner, your project manager, than having the confidence to speak with authority. Hey, this is what we need. This is where we're at. This is what we're doing. So didn't mean to make this too long. Just want to show you real quick the kind of checklist that I do. Pretty simple, but it will save you a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of headache. It'll keep you coloring in between the lines, so you're not, veering off somewhere else where you don't need to be, because the worst thing you want to do is be focusing on something that's probably not even going to happen for the next 8 months, unless you got time. But you have other items and other activities that's going to be coming up that you want to pay attention to. So yes, here's my checklist. I don't keep everything in my head. It's impossible. I'm getting old, but this really does help. And I encourage anybody who's starting to be a superintendent or looking to be a superintendent or are currently a superintendent and you need a little bit of guidance, some tips, this right here, I guarantee you, will be your lifesaver. Okay? All right. I appreciate you guys, and then we'll move on. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about just a few key points when starting in a new project as an electrical superintendent. How to get started. So one thing is we're gonna talk about project startup, energizing success, essential startup tips for electrical superintendents. So what's the first thing we want to do whenever we're starting a project? We're out here, we're ready to go. We done already had our kickoff meeting, and then we got to get the site ready logistically for office trailers and whatnot. So pre-project preparation, some of the things we're going to include in this video are a mobilization, temporary facilities, material management, fixture and gear shipping report, safety and compliance, project schedule and look aheads, specification review, plan and submittal review, as well as subcontractor management. So first thing we're going to talk about real quick is mobilization. And what does that mean? The coordinating site mobilization logistics, you have the GC trailer, you have your office trailer, you got connexes and a laydown yard. You want to get all that established and talk about that with the general contractor. Depending on the size of the project, will definitely be proportional to the size of your laydown yard and where you're able to store material and put your office trailer. And again, you want to confirm transportation for equipment and materials to the job site, such as bundles of pipe. You may have wire coming in. You want to be able to get that locked up in a material storage or a connex. And you want to communicate that with the general contractor to let them know where you're going to be at so they can be proactive and get a laydown yard set up. Next thing we're going to touch on is temporary facilities. All right, you're on the site, you're having a conversation with the general contractor. You're talking about, getting power to their building or to their office, power to your office, and to any other trailers that may need temporary power. So you want to, like we mentioned earlier, set up office trailers for project management and administrative tasks. So one of the most important things when you're getting on a new job, at least for me, and I'm sure for the general contractors and other subcontractors, is getting an office trailer set up. It's like your headquarters. You're getting that built up, you're getting your office supplies, you're getting things together, and you have a place to work out of that is comfortable. But again, talking about temporary power, very important.
arrange for temporary power supply for both job site and office trailers, ensure generator and connections are in place. So one of the things we like to do is we like to develop a drawing ahead of time to present to the general contractor and to also present to our safety department to make sure that we are, in compliance with any OSHA regulations or any safety protocols that we have. So what I like to do is, I'll show you a temporary power plant example. As you can see, we have a generator there. Got that grounded. We got our disconnects in a sub panel, and I just go above and beyond and go ahead and create a panel schedule so we know exactly what's going where and what is needed. If you don't need it, then you just cross it out and don't even worry about it. But typically at the beginning of the project, we like to do a temporary power drawing for the office trailers and also for the building. Next thing we're going to talk about is material management. Identify and order material needed for underground installation. Once you get a schedule and what direction the job is going and you want to start getting materials released ahead of time before those activities actually start, you want to set up your orders or your buyout releases according to the construction progression. If you're working in area A, you want to release 10,000 feet of conduit for that particular area, you can, without having to store a large amount of material on site. And this also will help you with planning, and you can be able to determine, hey, you may need more conduit, you may not need as much, and you can catch that and get ahead of that before you get out of the underground phase. Again, identify and order materials needed for underground installation. Now, I'm using underground installation as an example. I didn't want to get too deep in, overhead material, in-wall material, wire, devices, etc. Just to give guys who are just starting out a baseline of, what you're going to need to do when you're starting a job. Typically, if it's a brand new job from the ground up, you're going to be starting with underground. So having that ready to go ahead of time, coordinating that, your releases with your construction schedule will help you save on space and allow you to be proactive in making sure you get all the stuff that you need here. Next thing we want to talk about is fixture and gear shipping reports. After the submittals have been approved, after everything then went to the architect and engineer, they get their, approve as noted or revise and resubmit on the submittals. You should have a breakdown of fixtures and gear that you're going to need for the site that is generated by the vendor who is going to be providing all that stuff. So they should send you a shipping report with a corresponding date, estimated release date, when these items are going to be released. That way, again, you can compare your construction schedule with fixtures and gear when they are supposed to be arriving, and you can make sure that you can get it on time. A lot of times what I find is that we'll have a shipping report for fixtures and we're doing a particular building first and a particular piece of gear won't be ready in time. So we'll try to expedite that, try to get ahead of it, try to let the vendor know, hey, can we get this released earlier? What can we do? That way you're not holding up the progress of the project. Next thing we want to talk about is the most important, safety and compliance. So obviously when you're starting a job, you want to make sure that you understand what the general contractor is asking for regarding PPE. You got to understand your company's policy, what they're requiring for PPE, and you want to start getting that stuff on site. So anything that has to do with OSHA startup forms, you want to make sure you get those in your office trailer on site as soon as possible. You want to ensure all necessary forms are completed and submitted, which includes your OSHA posters hung up in your office trailer. You want to have a list of the local clinics, urgent care that's within your area, within a couple miles. In case there's an incident or an accident, you may have to take an employee to these clinics, and you want to know exactly where they are ahead of time so you're not compromising any kind of remedies that they may need. And of course, you could just call 911 if it's really, really bad. But knowing what clinics are in your area is very important. And having PPE and all that stuff on your project is also important. Gather all required personal PPE for the team: hard hat, safety glasses, earplugs, any kind of particle mask you want to have just ready and ready to distribute out as the guys need it. And also your SDS manuals. You want to have those in your office set up as well as your job specific safety requirements, job specific safety um, items that you need to have for a particular job, whether you're talking about JSA, JHA, and all that kind of stuff. So having all that ahead of time will definitely make your life a lot easier. All right, next we're going to talk about planning and scheduling. Project schedule and look ahead. You want to develop a detailed project schedule. Now, even though you get a schedule from the general contractor, you want to create your own schedule and your own look ahead. That way you can let your project management know, your operation team know, hey, in about 6 weeks, we're going to be working on this activity. I'm going to need this many guys. So that way it gives them enough time to find guys for you in ample time to get them on to the project as needed. So keep that in mind. That is very important. Look aheads are very important because things change. So you want to be able to be up on any changes or any developments in the construction schedule. All right. Moving on here. Spec review. This is a very important thing. I would not rely on estimating or project management going through the specs that you need to go through, especially as an electrical contractor, superintendent. You want to go through them yourself when you got time. I know when people hear spec review, they cringe because there's so many pages. But I tell you what, you can comb through them try to get through them as much as you can prior to any activity starting. Particularly when we're talking about the different divisions that you have to look at. The ones that I hit hard right out the gate is Division 26, 27, and 28. And I'll explain to you real quick what those divisions encompass. So Division 26, electrical. All right, this division encompasses all aspects of electrical work in a construction project. Key components include power distribution, lighting, wiring, guidelines for electric conductors, cables and raceway, grounding and bonding, emergency power systems, information on generators and backup systems. You want to go through those and make sure that you got everything that you need, that you're meeting the specs, the plans and specs prior to starting this work. Because if you don't, you get called out on it, you're going to have to do some rework. So keep that. That's very important. Next one we're going to talk about is control systems. I almost forgot about that. Specifications for building automation and control systems if you have that on your project. All right, moving right along to Division 27, which is communications. Real briefly, this division covers communication systems within a building or a site. Key components include data communication, telecommunication, audio-visual systems, security systems, and public address systems. Want to look over it. I know you're probably going to sub this out. If you do, make sure your subs understand it. Make sure you understand it. That way you get ahead of any potential problems that could occur. The next one, last one, Division 28, fire alarm systems. Fire alarm system specification for fire detection, alarm panels, and notification devices, as well as fire suppression system, guidelines for sprinkler systems and other suppression technologies. So a lot of things you got to read, a lot of things you got to cover, but I'll tell you what, it's worth its weight in gold if you do it at the beginning of the project and ongoing, constantly going through it and just looking for anything that could kind of hem you up and get you caught up. And you don't want to be in that position when it's too late. Also, access control system is also important when you're dealing with Division 28. Video surveillance systems, specification for CCTV and monitoring. All right, subcontractor management. Now, in our particular case, you've been having a number of subcontractors, whether it be lighting protection, voice and data, access control, fire alarm. You want to be able to sit down and talk with those lead men or those superintendents about what the expectations are. So subcontractor and scope review scopes of work for all subcontractors. That way they know exactly what's going on. They know what the expectations are. Ensure that subcontractors are fully briefed on project expectations and timeline. Very important to include them right at the beginning, giving them any updates that they may need that may come out of a coordination meeting. You want them involved. That way they have time to get in gear and get their materials ordered, get procuring any other items they need, and they can hit the ground running as soon as their activities open up for work. Another one, office supplies and communication. Make sure you have, your notepads, your pens, papers, computers, printers, anything that you need. You want to have that ahead of time. That way, this kind of helps you stay organized, keeps you pretty much not wanting to need anything. You can have your, whatever it may be, your sticky notes and all that kind of stuff, because you're definitely going to need those. You definitely want to hold a surplus of pens, markers, whatever it may be, whatever floats your boat as far as office supplies and use of office supplies. Set up communication tools, phones, radios, etc., iPads, especially for project coordination. We are pretty much done away with paper drawings. So all our information, drawings, submittals, all that stuff, safety, is all on an iPad, which we give to the guys in the field, the lead guy, and also, we'll email certain communications to our subcontractors if they don't have those provisions already in place. Documentation and reporting, very important. Establish a system for maintaining projects, data logs, meeting notes, etc. Set up regular reporting intervals to keep all relevant parties informed. For a lot of our daily documentation, meeting notes, we use Autodesk, also known now as Forma. So we upload all that stuff there, so it's in one central location where everybody can see it. If there's a new drawing that comes out, we update and revise that on that platform. We also use site docs for our safety, for our JSAs and any kind of other safety related information we will put on that form, so everybody can be on the same page. They can see it in the office. They can know that you're documenting daily, weekly, however your company runs it. But it's very important because things can get out of hand later on down the road, where you get blamed for something and you say, hey, no, that wasn't me. I told you guys about this. The civil guys hit this pipe and that wasn't us, so you can't back charge. So taking pictures, documentation, daily reporting is very, very, very important. Key takeaways. Proper preparation is essential for a successful construction project. Planning to fail is failing to plan. We've all heard that cliche. So the more you plan, the more comfortable and confident you can be, and the easier your life will be when you're building, starting, finishing, completing a project. Focus on logistics. Safety, number one. Safety is very important. Planning and communication to ensure smooth project execution. Hey guys, I just want to give, just something real quick. I didn't want to make this too long. Of course, we can go into details and the minutia of everything, but just wanted to give a little something out there for, like I said, my beginning superintendents, mid-level superintendents who are starting out, or those who are looking to try to become superintendents. You have a general idea of what to do in the order of operation to do those in. Obviously, you don't know what you don't know until you get involved in it and you start actually doing these things. But at least this will give you kind of a guideline. So if you are, not sure what direction you need to go to on a particular day where it's not too busy, just go through this video, go through the checklist that I sent previous to this video, and just operate off there. You should be fine. Once again, guys, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, just leave your comments down in the comment section. I'll do the best I can to answer them. Be safe out there, guys. Each one teach one. And thank you.
Yeah, you know what it is. Back with the bangers, 69. God damn it. Hey, yo, London,